There is no dearth for budget phones in India, but when it comes to offering something that is actually looking good, feeling good, and probably working good for an elongated period of time, there are very few players. And Xiaomi is one of them when it comes to the Redmi series. And they've been very busy this season with so many launches. And the latest release is the Redmi 5. We've used the phone for around 2 weeks now, and here is what we have to say in our detailed review coming up next on TechPP.com. Hey guys, this is GK from TechPP. Do subscribe for more interesting videos and hit the bell icon to get notified when we drop each one of those videos. We still recall when this family of phones was launched in India back in 2014, the Redmi 1S. While it looked and felt cheap, it was easily one of the most desirable phones. And the family has come a long way ever since. The 5 doesn't look or feel cheap. This started off with the 4, but somehow the 5 feels rock solid. Much of the phone is built out of metal, while the back's top and bottom portion make way for plastic that houses the antenna lines. Another thing that is obvious is the 5 is taller than its predecessor because it has to pack that 5-inch tall 7-inch screen coming with an aspect ratio of 18.9. The bezels aren't all that slim, but the phone has good looks for what you pay. And it feels good in the hand as well, but it's very slippery, and that's where the case that comes in with the box is very handy. The overall design of the back with the center mounted circular camera and a fingerprint scanner is very close to the looks when it comes to its own brothers like the Redmi Note 3, 4 and 5. The buttons on the sides are now rock solid with a good tactile feedback. It's a bummer that the SIM tray is hybrid and not the real deal 2 SIMs plus a micro SD card holder that we've seen in phones like Redmi's Y1. The speaker grill and the microphone at the bottom are divided by the micro USB port, while the top is busy with another microphone, an IR blaster and a 3.5mm audio jack. Coming in gold, black, blue and pink colors, the Redmi 5 is no more truly a one-handed phone. You can still use it, but with minor struggles. The display consists of 5.7-inch IPS LCD display packing in a 720p screen and an undisclosed version of Corning's Gorilla Glass. Though the screen can get very bright, not all the colors look accurate for the purists. The viewing angles are quite alright, but visibility under sunlight is very hard as the screen is very reflective. The touch sensitivity is way better than before, even with sweaty hands. The screen to body ratio is well over 70%, and the trimmed down bezels make way for a very immersive and refreshing experience, especially in this budget segment. Under the hood, the Redmi 5 runs a Qualcomm Snapdragon 450, which is an octa-core processor clocked at 1.8 GHz. It's coupled with Adreno 506 GPU and 2 or 3 or 4 GB of RAM and 16 or 32 or 64 GB of memory, depending on the variant that you'll pick up. 2 GB is going away these days, but since it's a budget segment, Xiaomi has still retained it. All of this is used to run the MIUI 9 series of software that is built off of Android 7.1.2. The performance? Well, it's very close to what the Snapdragon 625 provides, and that is almost there. We had no issues on the day-to-day tasks such as calling, multitasking, minimal usage and such. The screen transitions themselves are smooth, and the overall operating system seems to have been well optimized for the hardware underneath. However, there were occasional jerks while moving from one app to another, but there was no app crashes encountered. The one we have is the 3 GB RAM variant, and it did pretty well with games such as Asphalt 8, Subway Surfer and the usual suspects. Of course, the high-end games did have frame drops and slow app loading, but it was expected. There were no overheating issues even on elongated and heavy usage. Speaking of heavy usage, the phone is powered by 3300 mAh battery, a capacity much lower than its predecessor, which came around 4000 mAh. If you're worried about the battery performance, rest them aside, as the Redmi 5 surprised us here. Even on heavy usage, we could manage to get around 5 to 7 hours of screen on time, while on light and medium usage, it yielded around 10 hours. We have seen this kind of a performance from the 450 processor in an earlier phone that we've used from Vivo. There is no fast charging support here, but the phone takes a little more than 2 hours to go from 10 to 100%. The fingerprint scanner is well placed and is very fast as the one that we've seen on the Redmi Note 5 Pro. No, there is no face unlock here, not just yet. Coming to the camera, it consists of a 12 megapixel shooter with a f2.2 aperture that can shoot with 1.25 pixel size. It is accompanied by a single LED flash, and the front-facing 5 megapixel shooter also has a flash now. The overall performance of the rear shooter is above average and easily one among the best in the range. The camera app is however typical MIUI with the minimum options for the lower end phones, but tons of filters find their way. The phone constantly hunts for focus at times, and you may end up taking a blurry shot, prompting you to do over. If we were to pixel peep, the colors are not 100% accurate. They are either slightly punchy or off by a bit. The dynamic range could use some improvement, but the HDR mode does well in bringing out what otherwise would have been hidden. The panorama mode is a little flaky at times, but the stitching is more than acceptable. Since the aperture size is smaller and there is no OIS, there's a quite bit of noise coming in and washed out images in low light conditions, which also continues to the 5 megapixel shooter. The focus hunting we mentioned earlier can also be seen in the videos that max out at 1080p. We couldn't complain much about the overall camera performance, as it's among the best in the range and better than its predecessor. There is an LED at the right hand top corner for notifications and charging cues. There is a support for USB OTG as well. The phone did well when it came to signal reception in calls, and Wi-Fi connectivity was good as well. The Bluetooth, however, faced few drops when we were using multiple devices like headphones and so on, and we hope this is not common across all the devices. Starting at $7,999 and going up to $10,999, the Redmi 5 is a formidable successor to the Redmi 4. But there is one issue, and maybe not for everyone. This series of Redmi was an easy and an obvious choice for many like me who wanted a secondary phone that was handy and easy for the users on the move. It's no more that. The phone is bigger, slippery, which means the case is mandatory again, thereby making it slightly bigger than its usual size and almost impossible for single-handed usage most of the times. This one drawback apart, the Redmi 5 is a winner when viewed in isolation. But when you look outside a little more, its own cousins, the Redmi Note 5 and the 5 Pro variants, can be bought with a couple more thousands for way better performance, including the cameras, and if size wasn't your issue. With so many phones between the 6,000 to 10,000 INR bracket, it is confusing for one to choose what to pick up. Let's make it easier for you. If you're hard on cash and want a decent phone that will run for a year or two and not too hell-bent on a handy phone, go ahead, pick up the Redmi 5, but the one with the 3 or 4 GB variant. If you can shell out a little more than that, we suggest you go for the Redmi Note 5 instead. So tell us what you think. Would the taller form factor matter a lot for you, or would you just go pick up the Redmi Note series instead? So that's it for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Until the next time, may the tech be with you.